CMMS Radio talks about all things CMMS, computerized maintenance management software, focused on maintenance management. It's the people, the process, and the culture that make your CMMS journey a success. All right, everybody, welcome back to CMMS Radio. We got a cool episode today. Sadiq Syed, who is the Senior Vice President of Digital Buildings, that's cool stuff, at Schneider Electric. A lot of you know who Schneider Electric is. If you don't, come on, forget about it. And he was just at the Innovation Summit this week. That was out in Las Vegas. So, Sadiq, welcome to CMMS Radio for your first time.
Thank you, Greg. Happy to be here. Thanks for the invitation.
Yeah, and I think, for me, one of the things I want to get into, I want to understand, of course, a bit about your background and kind of get into some of those things. But when you were at the summit this week, you specifically hosted a panel discussion, and that panel discussion was I've got some notes here, was really around the fragmentation, or how fragmented systems are holding critical facilities back. Now, for me, that's important because I'm in this CMMS world. I want to talk about maintenance management, people, and process, but what that was really about is across large and critical facilities, leaders are under increasing pressure to drive higher efficiency, reduce downtime, and scale sustainability. Yet there's fragmented systems and disconnected data, which is something we hear about a lot. That continues to slow them down. So I want to find out first, just right away, what surprised you on the panel? Was there anything that came up where you were like, "Whoa, I didn't expect that"?
Actually, when we went through the panel we had a customer from basically switch data centers. We had a partner who collaborates with us in serving our end customers, and we had analysts, right? So truly, actually, nothing surprised. Actually, it was a lot of validation of what they're experiencing today in terms of dealing with silos in different systems, whether it's building management or power management, the big void between electrical and mechanical assets integration. So definitely, it was a resounding validation. But of course, one of the things that was mentioned was, I think it was as a follow-up, though, from the Verdantix analysts, that look, there is no one in the industry that is solving for this, and that was a bit surprising because we all have been in this industry for a long time, and it was very refreshing for them to see Schneider Electric leading the way, and unifying the ecosystem across energy, power, and building management systems, and really unifying the electrical and mechanical assets into one platform to really drive those outcomes. So I was a bit surprised. I should say, even though our research showed that no one else is doing, but I was further surprised that, okay, look, no one else is truly really doing this. Maybe they'll follow, but at least for now, no one else is solving for it. So.
Do you think it's because, as much as they want to, there's so much involved in tying everything together, not just to tie it together, but to do it in a effective way that is actually within the right context? In other words, when we talk about siloed data and getting things communicating and getting them into one place, that's good and great. But then you're talking about different systems that converge, right? We talk about the energy, maybe the assets themselves, all those different things, mechanical, to really make it actionable. Maybe that's the biggest challenge. I'm just kind of thinking out loud, but I wonder if that's why it's less common for anyone to focus on it, and that makes it innovative.
And also, I think historically it's been a very single domain focus in terms of even the personas that operate. Sometimes it's only the the building operations manager is focused on mechanical assets, for example, and he or she is looking at the building management system, HVAC, chillers, lighting systems, access control, or fire security systems. And then there's a different persona that is focused on power quality, power management. What we are seeing, though, especially in mission critical facilities like data centers or healthcare hospitals or pharma facilities, the facilities teams, they require cross domain integrations to really keep up a very high level of resiliency in the system, high level of SLAs that they need to adhere to, because these are mission critical, and they cannot operate in a single domain. So the I think that the extremely high demanding conditions in some of our end markets are also moving OEMs like us to think differently and say, look, how do we solve their problems? Because they're battling with these different domains. So I think part of it is how industry operated historically in specific swim lanes between electrical assets and mechanical assets. But now it's truly converging, and I think that will also drive a lot of change in terms of how innovation will be driven going forward, and it's no longer a single domain act or one single act that can uh, one trick pony that can get you in solving problems.
Yeah, it seems to be a theme. I don't know if this runs in waves or cycles. Every so many years we start to see some trending, but one of the big things, and I think Schneider Electric is known for this, is this focus on sustainability. And
Yeah.
sustainability is not something that was ignored, but now it really seems to be front and center. So when you talk about electrical assets versus mechanical assets, and we relate that to energy, to
Mhm.
grid, regardless of where you're positioning yourself on um, energy sources,
Mhm.
I think that's really big right now. And I'm curious, there's some debate, I think, as to where we're at as an overall industry and whether organizations that you serve or that many other companies serve with
Mhm.
technology are struggling to find companies that have the right maturity levels for both the technology and how they work. Do you find that to be a challenge when it comes to bringing these things together, where let's say you're working directly with a client or someone on your team is working
Mhm.
directly with a client to make sure they're ready, they're in a state of readiness for this technology and for this kind of, I'm going to say, connected ecosystem?
Yeah, yeah. Look, I think this will require, if your question is around readiness of the industry for this technology, I think it depends on the end markets the customers are operating in. Some of the more demanding environments like data centers, healthcare, pharma, again, are I think more ready than others, because they have no choice, right? They have to really operate at a very high level of efficiency and resiliency. But still, like any new technology, this will require change management. This will require training on the new platform and the new ecosystem. But then the beauty is, once you've trained on it, then you're just learning different domains incrementally. And that's the beauty. So, yes, it will require a little bit of that initial wrap up in terms of training and then driving the change management. And that's what we are also preparing ourselves for, to support our customers and our partners. So, look, we are not going to just develop a new software and throw it across the wall. Our role is to also equally invest in training, customer success, change management, and we're going to be alongside our customers and partners on this journey. I mean, think of this, right? And any new capability requires that. Any new software that organizations deploy, whether it's a ERP system, whether it's a CRM system, it requires a little bit of that change management. But then once you train the trainers, once you build expertise in those organizations, then it starts flowing smoothly. But they'll start seeing the value of the ecosystem also. Think of Office. I give this analogy all the time. the Microsoft Office suite.
Hmm.
You have one platform that enables PowerPoint, Excel, Word, and so many other tools. Actually, they keep on adding. And in fact, some I don't even use because it's not relevant to me. But it's one ecosystem that is interoperable across applications. They talk to each other, and you can just build on different capabilities as your needs evolve. And that's the beauty of enabling an ecosystem instead of trying to go and sell a single point solution and then another single point solution. And it requires its own technology lifecycle management. It requires its own training and enablement. So there's a lot of power to the ecosystem and the platforming we're enabling.
Yeah, and it's. I think for me, I'm always trying to get to that level where it's about the frontline
Yes.
user adoption. Are they um, good with, okay with, and kind of adopting the standardizations and how we use and interact with these different technologies? And sometimes these projects are massive and they're going
Yeah.
to take years. Other times it might be several months. I think it's more likely that it's a little bit more than several months
Yeah.
when they're going through both the change management process and getting technology to stick. And
Yeah.
there's always these different risks where you lose champions and people start to tune out. I want to
Yeah.
kind of switch gears now. I think one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about today that you have a lot of visibility to is this big trend, and everybody's talking about it, and I love getting through episodes where I don't talk about it. But today I want to talk a little bit about AI, artificial
Yeah.
intelligence, because I'm known as maybe more of a skeptic where I'm like, whoa, be careful. Let's make sure that we're using these machine learning models in a way that they're kind of controlled and they don't just get their information anywhere. Can you talk to me a little bit about what you're seeing directly, whether it was on the panel, at the Innovation Summit, or just overall, when it comes to people's understanding of why and how AI makes a difference? And I'm going to make this a little bit complicated. How are you seeing the concept of controlling drift and eliminating or reducing hallucinations being successful rather than, problematic?
Yeah. Yeah. Look, definitely. Look, in many domains, the verdict is out there, right? What value AI brings in the domain we are in, and the innovation we are delivering to the market, especially with foresight. We've been very specific, and our market research, our voice of customer that we have engaged with hundreds of customers and partners, including collaborating with few specific customers and partners in development of this. We are very specific on the use cases where AI will have a needle moving impact and truly will enable that efficiency and productivity, whether it is for the systems integrator community, our partner network that is deploying these systems. So, AI is being leveraged to uh, drive faster deployment, faster engineering and coding, so that they can deploy now this in days, not weeks and months. Okay, so there is some really cool technology we're leveraging from AI perspective to really cut that deployment time into half or less. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so AI has a big role there, with automated scripting and a lot of things that SIs do in during the deployment. When it comes to the facility manager themselves, look, we are leveraging that with our automated single line diagrams. We are providing fault detection insights on the asset, and there's a lot of AI there based on what the learning models are on hundreds of assets and hundreds of patterns that the model has, or thousands of patterns that the model has observed. So making the fault detection richer and richer by the day on the asset. The third piece, which in fact is the biggest piece, is alarm fatigue and alarm burden that facility managers have. and how do you reduce that noise? And AI, we are leveraging AI to really only surface the ones that matter, and really taking signal from the noise, right? Really detecting the signal from the noise that's around us, around us. So I think there are very specific use cases, and customers value that. That we are not just sprinkling all over the place. We are being very intentional about the use cases we are leveraging AI for, and customers see that, and they're validating that, right? So we're not just being all over the place. To your point, right? Whether how do you prove that it's not hallucinating? Look, it's a lot of testing, a lot of based on a rich data set. So the AI models are only as good as the data. So we're making sure that there is a lot of focus on the efficacy and the quality of the data, and also not letting AI completely take over, right? In the sense, ultimately, you want it to augment the SI or the facility manager in this case, and let them take a look at the recommendations and say, okay, look, yeah, does this still make sense? Let me roll with the recommendation that the AI is making, or no, I'm going to still override that, right? So that the users have a choice to either let it fly into autonomous mode, or verify, but trust yet verify, right? Or completely be in a manual mode if they want to, right? So it's depends on where they want to deploy it. I think the best example for this is Tesla, right? Do you want FSD to fully drive the car for you, and you just sit, or you're one of them who doesn't even want to try FSD, and you just want to drive the car on your own, and you have nothing to do with full self-driving and autonomous driving, and which is fine too, right? It depends on how much you want to leverage the technology.
Yeah, I think one of the key things is for anybody that's using technology that leverages these aspects of technology, they don't treat it as an easy button, and they stay engaged with what's being produced, what's being asked, what's being
Yep.
recommended, looking at report data and analytics or decision recommendations based on analytics of existing data to scrutinize it a little bit, use their brain and not just completely tune out. And that's not really easy for human beings to continually do, because, and my primary example is how many things, using, say, for example, smartphones, we stop doing, like focusing on our ability to spell or our ability to remember information like names and phone numbers and all that kind of stuff. But getting back to AI, I think what you said about augmenting is
Mm-hmm.
really the idea behind it, along with, provided it's effective, making things more efficient, whether it is for systems integrators or developers.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm always just wanting to keep an eye on it, and I think it's really great technology. What do you think happens next, whether it's from an AI perspective with what you do and with the industry, or something even bigger or newer? I'm always curious what's coming next, and I have some of my own ideas, but I want to ask you first without kind of supplanting those ideas.
There will be an autonomous state of building operations, and anything else around that facility or a built environment will be managed by exception, uh, because you're letting technology pretty much take care of the current state of operations, including workflows through integrations with CMMS or IWMS systems, and the actions are being taken by either the technology is healing that issue, or it's deploying or dispatching a technician on site. But I do see a state not too far in the near future where that will happen. Uh, Clearly, and then that's where AI plays a big role, and and other tools play a big role.
Do you? So for me, the thing I didn't want to bring up yet, and I'll bring it up now, is this idea behind. It's kind of twofold. One, where there's far more visual element and interaction with systems,
Mhm.
be those our software solutions and technology
Mhm.
solutions with our physical world. So
Sure.
maybe VR or other visual things. And then the other idea is kind of around the way we interact with the solutions when we're interpreting that physical world, what we did, what we're about to do, what has been done, where we literally are talking to the technology,
Mhm.
no typing, none of that kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah.
Do you see things really heading that way
Yeah.
sooner or later?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, when I say technology, there are so many elements to that. In fact, we showcased at Innovation Summit a demo of how we're leveraging an agent that we are talking to and interacting with, and taking an action. Okay, so it was almost a equivalent of an Alexa or Siri. So that's there already, right? Like natural language processing, interaction based, without even like touching a keyboard, right? And you can do
Hmm.
that. That's like happening today. Similarly, when you talk about AR, VR, yeah, look, again, when I say technology, the AI has so many shapes and forms, and one of them is digital twin modeling, so that the technician might not even ever need to step in and remotely inspect an asset or an issue and basically remotely diagnose, and remotely fix it. And this is where uh, 2D, 3D models of the building, the digital twin of the entire asset, play a big role. And it might just interact with an agent. Imagine a technician remotely now looking at this model of the asset, interacting with an agent to take care of it.
Hmm.
Right. So that's pretty much here in my view. It's just
Yeah,
that
yeah.
how can we get to a state of a bit more maturity in, I would say, in the buildings domain, the built environment. I've seen some of that already happening in, for example, oil and gas industry, where they're already leveraging AR, VR, and remote micro robotic technology to go inspect the oil pipelines and gas pipelines, and remotely diagnose and fix it. Drones to go inspect the oil fields and things like that. And pretty soon, I'm sure they're going to have agents that these technicians can remotely talk to and fix issues, right? So it's not sci-fi anymore. A lot of this is happening in many industries.
Well, and I get a chuckle out of it too, and I think what happens is I'm always ready to come back and say, well, we still got to make sure we've got the basics. We're always going to need those foundational
Yes,
elements of
absolutely.
humans, and we get back to that concept of augmentation where this
Yeah,
may be possible in certain scenarios. I love what you talked about there when it comes to, say, for example, the drones and the technologies we can use to safely do
yes,
inspections that are high risk. And that could, at a minimum, give indicators as to, okay, now we,
yes,
our people, our team need to go and fix this because now we know what
exactly.
it was, but we eliminated all that risk when it comes
Yes,
to how we do the inspections in dangerous environments,
yes,
high temperatures,
yes,
other current exposure, whatever it might be.
yes,
How do you actually inspect a wind turbine? Well,
yeah,
send something up there first, and then okay, now we know we have to go and fix that because we don't
yes,
quite yet have something that can go and do all the things with the electrical current signature analysis, and then we know we got to fix this. So the possibilities are pretty fascinating and wild.
it
And I
is.
just,
It is.
yeah,
It is. And that's why, look, we're trying to keep ourselves grounded without losing sight of where we want to go. and that grounding is coming from, let's get the foundations right, let's get the domains in one ecosystem. That's basics, like literally that's the foundational stuff, right? Bring electrical, mechanical, energy, building management, power management in one ecosystem. Let's start there, that's the foundation element. And then we can, the art of the possible with AI, digital twin, other technologies is endless. But at least let's have basic housekeeping, which
Yeah.
has been so broken for decades.
That's the thing right there. The idea of foundational excellence. And for me, when we talk about maintenance or asset management and those types of things, we have teams that move well together.
Yep.
They really stand arm in arm. When you've got that, then the technology can really come into play and get you
Yes.
next level.
Yes.
But it's always going to be about the people, at least until it's not. I don't know if that
Yeah.
makes any sense. But
Yeah.
Sadiq, I wanna switch you into uh, one of my favorite things on CMMS radio for first timers, if you're so willing.
Mhm.
And it's called the fun question segment.
Sure.
You game for that?
That'll be fun.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to it.
There are no wrong answers here. This is for us to have a little bit of fun and for people to get to know you. So you just fire away. The very first question is, what is your favorite music?
I would say I like. I originally grown up in India, so I like a lot of Indian music,
Okay, good, good, good.
Bollywood.
Yeah, yeah. Now the second question, it's kind of a two-parter. You can choose how you want to answer it. What is your favorite sport or hobby? And on sport, it does not have to be one that you play. It could be one that you like to watch and kind of root
Yeah,
for and follow.
yeah, yeah. Uh, I like American football. I don't play, but I really enjoy watching because a lot of strategy, a lot of tactics. It's split second decisions. I love the game in that sense, but never played though. I think I'll be fine not playing and save my body.
Oh
But
yeah,
I love the
that's
game.
it's like two trucks smashing into each other, right? It's brutal.
Yes.
All right, here's the big one. And again, I'll remind you, no wrong answers here. What is your philosophy, perspective, opinion? Is it even a thing when it comes to this concept of work-life balance?
Hmm. Yeah. Look, I think work-life balance is what every individual defines. And for some, 40 hours a week is the max they would do from a work perspective, and the rest is life. For some, that balance is 80 hours a week of work, and the rest is for life. So it all what you define and what you aspire for. So the balance is so specific and so personalized to every individual, in my opinion. That's I think so. I have a balance that I found. And that works for me and my family in the current state.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and
And it
this,
was different 10 years ago, or I would say 12 years ago, when we didn't have kids. So that was a different work life balance.
yeah, yeah. Everything changes at some point, and you have to be able to adapt, adjust, and it depends on priorities. All those things are shifting, which is
Yeah.
why I encourage everyone to just answer and not worry about being right, because it's so unique to the individual, the family, and there's a lot of
Yeah.
moving parts. And as far as we know, depending on your beliefs, we only get one run at this. So everybody's doing it different. And people want to know a little bit about the people that they're listening to. So
Yes.
I hope people get some enjoyment out of that. I hope you did. For everyone out there, you can find Sadiq on LinkedIn. I am assuming that's the best place to connect with you.
Yes. Yes.
And
Absolutely.
uh, thank you for being here with me on CMMS Radio. I really appreciate it.
It was a lot of fun, Greg. It was a pleasure meeting you, and I'm looking forward to engage with your audience when they hear this, and happy to answer any follow up questions. And really, it was my most fun interaction this week among all external interactions. So it was a lot of fun. So,
Oh man, thank you, man. And that's I hope everyone else enjoys it, and thank you for making the time.
Yes. Thank you, Greg. I appreciate it.
You
Have a
got
good
it.
evening.
You too. Did you find this episode helpful? Please send us some feedback, suggest a topic, or ask a question. Reach out to CMMS Radio if you need a co-pilot on your CMMS project. Visit CMMSradio.com and use the What's on Your Mind link. Thank you for tuning in to CMMS Radio, your resource for all things CMMS, from selection to implementation, to help you make better choices, learn from industry experts, and have a successful CMMS journey.